There we go. So, hello, Winter. Nice to see you. So, I kind of started earlier today, and I already have a big chunk of, yeah, the center is out, and I have the first color change actually on the previous round here in this corner. But it's really nice and soft, and I have not before this used the 4mm crochet hook with Dahlia, but it's really soft. It's gonna be so soft and cuddly. Yay! But I'm imagining it's gonna take a while. Well, it's gonna be faster than the other things that I've done with these cakes, but it's still 2 cakes. So it will take some time, right? So I was thinking a little bit about music after you were talking about the little crush of yours. And I was like, what type of crushes have I had on like artists over the years? And I had to get some old music going here. So it took me a little bit longer than I planned to get this live going because I got stuck in the music. So I blame you for that. And some of the bands I used to listen to, it's just like a big black hole to go like listen to them. I just go like downy mood. So I did not feel like I wanted to get stuck in that rabbit hole tonight. But there's always a risk when you don't go down memory lane to get stuck in weird places. If you know what I mean. So I've been really thinking about patterns that you could use that gorgeous yarn that you have. Do you have that? Was it the Darjeeling tea blanket? And do you have the pattern for that? Or were you thinking of getting it? But that's the one that's like talking to you the most so far? Oh, okay. No, she's a really talented pattern designer. So far, I've only tried shawl patterns from her. I actually have both the blanket and the shawl pattern. I just haven't gotten to trying them yet. I did the Ceylon tea shawl. But I've done that one twice instead. So, well, almost. One is still not totally finished. Like I think I have probably a row and a half maybe left. But I was using shadow cake and ran out of black. So lucky me, I have some black leftovers from other shadow cakes. I just haven't gotten to try and dig them out from where I've hidden them in my stash. So that's that. Some excavation is needed to find the yarn that I need, and therefore it's on hold. Can you tell that I have the color change? It's really, really not noticeable unless you really look up close. I don't really see it from afar like this. But here you can tell that there's a little bit of a green-ish. It could like almost just be a shadow from this distance. And I haven't decided yet on how big I'm gonna make this. I'm thinking slightly oversized, but not too oversized. Because I'm like, do I want it large around the arms and kind of short at the waist? Or would I rather have it long at the waist? And I can't decide. Maybe I should do like, I don't know, half sleeves? Or like, was it 3/4? Like somewhere here? I don't know. But this is so soft. And I'm thinking I'm gonna use this more like as a summer item. So maybe I should not make it too like covering with full length sleeves, and I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how I tackle this one. But it's definitely fun. Yeah, I'm surprised on how it looks actually. I think it looks slightly more green on the camera. It's more of a golden yellow to me, but I don't know if it's because of the red in the background or if it's just my lighting that's being stupid. Let's see, can we do something about that? Oh, that's never fun. I'm thinking this is more true to color. I have no idea what kind of lighting I'm... Yeah, this looks more like the true color. I'm gonna keep the lighting as like this, just for that reason. Well, bad stories are never fun. I hope everyone's okay in the end, even though, you know, shit happens. Life sucks and whatnot. Yeah, this is really, really... I'm gonna be so happy with the soft result. Yes. Nice and cuddly. Ooh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Usually, it's not even the type of headache that painkillers could assist with, right? You have a fear about granny stitch in this. Why? Why is thin yarn and granny stitch not a thing for you? I've done like a couple of shawls, granny stitch, just triangular ones. Also, if you've had it for a long time, even, that's even worse. Is that worrying about the headache or worrying about other things? Because if you're not worrying about a headache and it's just a brain thing, some people might say that it might be a tumor if it's like a long time type of headache. Oh, you mean the granny stitch? I'm just thinking about your headache and feeling sorry for you. I hate feeling shitty. I know how that feels, so I'm not in the least bit jealous in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes I feel like Granny is just boring. Or, not that it's boring, it's relaxing to make, but it kind of looks boring because it looks the same. So I'm just like, sometimes can't be bothered with it. And at the same time, it is nice. It's fairly dense. It's not too many like see-through things. But yeah, I could just do like regular double crochets and still do a hexagon shape, but that would take more time. This is like a no-brainer. When working in chain spaces, it's like almost not even looking, just feeling where the chain space is and count to 3 and hope for the best. But yeah. Well, since you have a headache, maybe it's not the best time to pick your brain about what I was thinking about earlier. Better to have you relax and try and get the headache away. Or maybe it's something that you you want to know. Well, the thing is, I've been really frustrated. I have a family member, and it's a long story. I told you that. That's why I would just like I can't just write it. Can't be bothered. But yeah, I have a family member that is um well, now at a legal age here, which is 18. You're an adult here when you're 18 and you can do everything. Go to pubs and bars and whatnot. Yeah, everything. But this person is also, well, she was born male and is no longer feeling like a male, which she let the rest of the family know about a year ago. So there's been plenty of time to, deal with this so far. And I have no issues. My issues are with how other people are acting, especially her father, that continues to say he and the name that he was given when he was young, as well as everyone tippy-toeing around when dad is around, because dad is saying he, so everyone says he and that name when he's around, um, because they don't want to step on dad's toes. But the thing is that dad and the daughter had, like, they've talked about this, and it's not just like a gender issue or like gender dysphoria, that type of thing going on here. There's also other diagnoses involved as autism, and I'm not sure about like all types of things going on, but that is one of the, I wouldn't say like main reasons, but that's one of the reasons apparently, um, that when you're also like autistic, you might like regret what you're doing. You might like change your mind. Apparently, that's more common if you have issues with your gender and also is autistic. I have no idea about the statistics on that. That's what they told me, and that's what they're sticking to. Like, yeah, that's their thing. But like, they they say that they have an agreement that the dad is going to be continuing to like do the whole he thing for a while longer, only because like if she would change her mind and want to go back, it's harder to go back if everyone is already like accepting that she wants to be a she and is using that name and all of that. So dad thinks he's a type of lifeline. If you regret it or if you want to change your mind, it's easier to come back if at least someone is still, remembering who you used to be. And I just feel like the dad is being so disrespectful, and I'm being really like annoyed about other family members that's tippy-toeing around, um because everyone gets very insecure. Like, it's a hard thing to just adjust to, like, a name change, to remember that, okay, it's not the old name anymore, it's a new name. And oh, sorry, I slipped, I used your old name because, habit. But it just feels like it's taking longer when we have dad being all, you know I don't know, it just feels so backwards. And then when I said, I talked about this, that I feel like that is being disrespectful, and that we should, um, support the girl as much as we can. And then there's people around me that's like, well, no, he's not being disrespectful. They have this agreement. And I was like, but this is how it looks like from the outside looking in. He looks like he's being very disrespectful to his now daughter. And I just can't sit around and, you know, I have to say something, because this is a very, very quiet girl, no matter what. She's like one of the most quiet people around here. So she doesn't speak up at all. But I'm just like, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating to have people being angry with me when I speak up, and I was like, he's being disrespectful. No, they have an agreement. It doesn't matter. It looks disrespectful. And just the fact that like people around are tippy-toeing, that they don't know what to say. He, she, the new name, the old name. Am I being all like, I don't know, should I just ignore it, or am I I'm just feeling like, am I the asshole here? you know I've seen too many videos, or like, there's a Reddit am I the asshole stories. But I'm feeling like that because they're like, oh, you shouldn't interfere, this is not your problem, this is not your issue, you should just like, keep to yourself. And it's like, it's hard because I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I'm just like I was curious about your thought on it because it feels like everyone here is being like, "Oh, well, you can't do that. Like they have this agreement." Ugh. I'm sorry. Frustrating. Well, hopefully it will turn out good in the end. Like it's it's a big thing to adjust to anyone, but it's like, yeah. Oh, trust me, I've stepped on that dad's toes many times. Apparently, the first time I ever met him, I insulted his weight. And I learned about that like 3 years later that I apparently insulted his weight. And apparently he's still mad about it. But I found out not through him, but someone else 3 years later. Whoopsie. Had no clue. She came out to her like immediate family about this time last year, and I found out, was it Easter or Midsummer? Some holiday. Yeah, so I'm not like this dad's favorite person in the world. But that's not what I'm supposed to be either. He's just, family, not by blood. So I don't really see it as the biggest issue on the planet, but it's probably a good thing that I don't get into too big of a disagreements with him because other family members might be cranky over it. New color change. That one's a little bit more visible. And the tiny, tiny little knot. They're really cute and easy to hide. It's awesome. I love this yarn. It is by far the favorite yarn types I have. Yeah. Especially with these like really, I wouldn't say discrete color changes, but like when the colors are so similar, the fades are really, really pretty. Were you born during the winter? I'm a winter child. Well, you already know that. It was my birthday just, the other week. That's why I have this pretty, gorgeous yarn to play with. Yay. You're a summer baby, but you're cold hearted. I know you said that. I don't believe you, but that's what your story and you're sticking to it, right? I wasn't sure which cake to start with since I'm doing this with two cakes. But I figured this one was the one that looked, I wouldn't say boring, but this one has less fun elements to it. So I figured if I start with the more happy one, then I might get bored to see this being the next one. Because I do like colors. And it doesn't happen too much with this. Well, of course, there's a lot going on still. There's color changes, but it's yellow to green. It's not the most party thing going on. He met Ogre. Have you met Ogre? Is that why you're jealous that he has and you hasn't? So you're drooling over that eye candy. So will you have the chance during the concert, do you think? Oh, so there's still restrictions that would be messing with that type of possibilities or opportunities and whatnot. Ugh. Ah, yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. Should I maybe put the other cake here just for funsies? The one I'm gonna be using on the other half. So he's a beast with a big heart. We had a commercial here a couple of years ago. I think it was for some medication. Was it? I don't know, ibuprofen, paracetamol, something. And it was like a big Saint Bernard dog and a small like Chihuahua type puppy. And they were out in the rain. And it was something about like if you're big, you have to be kind. So that the big Saint Bernard dog was sheltering the little tiny puppy under his belly to hide it from the rain. Because apparently that was something, with the meds to like, it's great to do big things, but then it has to be kind. I have no idea how they thought about that one, but big beasts, big hearts. Kind of funny. Usually, like big guys, they are very often very cuddly, big teddy bears. So I guess there's something to that. I did the most boring thing earlier today, and I was almost crying the whole time. And not on purpose. I I found on sale the other day yellow onion for a great price, and I think it was like 3 kilograms of yellow onions. So I chopped it all and put it into bags and put it in the freezer. But I was crying because of, onions are terrible. Just felt so weird to stand in my kitchen crying for like, yeah, over an hour just chopping onions. It took forever. But yeah, then I don't have to chop it when I'm gonna cook. And also, I'm not gonna be able to use all of that onion before it goes bad. So I just, yeah, I slaughtered them. I put them in a bag and into the freezer. But it's nice. That's gonna save me time when cooking and the kids are jumping up and down. I love onions. Not everyone in my family does, though. I'm allowed to cook with onions, but raw onions is banned on everyone's plate but mine. Because I'm the only one that eats raw onions, apparently. But as long as they're cooked, it's fine. Yeah, I usually have that in like meat sauce, stews. I do a sausage stroganoff. That really needs the onions. And it's also like a fairly cheap filler. So adding a couple of onions, it's not just flavor, but you get the food to stretch a bit more. shredded carrots is awesome to use for that purpose when you're doing stuff with minced meat. Minced meat and shredded carrots, they will disappear and the kids won't even know that they're there and they will eat healthier food than they thought they were, which is awesome. Poutine. What is poutine? I don't know if I've, like, I think I might have heard it, but I don't know what it is. And with that spelling, I know you're not talking about the Russian president, so I'm fairly sure my pronunciation was half okay. Fries, gravy, and cheese. Hmm. Okay, I have never tried anything like that. Something I do enjoy with my fries is like melted cheddar cheese dip and um, sliced jalapenos. That's um, that's nice. I like, chili cheese type of things. Chili cheese like balls that's deep fried. Yummy. And I like to have melted cheese dip. Like basically, I think it's like a cheddar type cheese dip for my fries. Yes. It's really funny, actually, that my kids, one is obsessed with cheese, and the other one don't want cheese whatsoever. I don't know how that can happen. That two siblings can be so different. That one of them, like, it's ridiculous. My almost 3-year-old helped me to get the groceries out of the bags when I'd been shopping yesterday, and I had bought just a regular bag of shredded cheese, nothing special. There was cookies, there was all sorts of things in the bags, and she just lifted it up and she handed it to me. But when it came to the cheese, she found the bag, she took it, she hugged it and ran away. And I was like, yeah, where are you going with that? And her dad was like, what did she take? And she was like, cheese. And he's like, oh, I should have guessed. Ah. But it was just the funniest thing. Like the cookies, she couldn't care less. She wanted the cheese. I think she was a rat in her last life or something. Feels like everyone's turning vegan these days. It's always interesting to see how long they last because not everyone's like vegan for life. It's like a couple of months and they're like, no, I'm not vegan anymore because I was missing this and that. And it's like, so now I'm vegetarian or pescatarian or whatever they have to say to get away with getting to eat whatever they were missing. I had a period when I was probably 14 or so. I was vegetarian for about a month and a half or something. And then I don't know what happened. Like nowadays, I have no issues eating a lot of the things that I was like, no, I can't eat that. Like when I was young, I did not like cauliflower to save my life, and broccoli was like, eh. And now I'm like, maybe I should go and get myself some broccoli and some cauliflower and just eat them raw with a dip. That's awesome. But I couldn't stand them. Just like I had issues with cabbage and kale. That was just like, no, 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 no. And beans was kind of scary too. And I was like, yep, need to make myself some chili and plenty of beans and plenty of different ones. I usually have white beans, black beans, and kidney beans when I make chili because I like the colors. It just makes everything more fun. And I usually go for red, green, and yellow bell peppers when I do stuff with that in, just because why not? But yeah, I have to hide the vegetables for my kids. Like tuck them into the food so that they don't notice. I made, I don't know what I made. I did some kind of casserole a couple of weeks ago with pork. Um, and it was not anything really special, but I had, what was it I had? I had some leek. Like, I don't know if they're actually, like, pretty thick and very long onion type. I'm feeling like leeks are thinner and shorter. Like this is like an oversized type. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like an onion, but it's long and half is green and half is white. Either way, I was chopping it down into small pieces and I put that in the casserole. And the little one, she was like, I don't want to eat leaves. She couldn't eat them because she didn't want to eat the leaves. Like, there's no leaves in here. It's onion. It's no leaf. But nope, she didn't want that. They were pretty easy to find, at least the green parts, but the white ones she ate because she couldn't sort them out from the rice. So, even though she didn't want the leaves, she ate them. And she's been really picky when it comes to vegetables. I did something, yeah, leafless. I did something with the corn in it, and she was just sitting there spitting the corns out. I was like, why? Kids love corn. Why don't you? No, she doesn't want anything to do with vegetables. When I make like pasta sauce and I use crushed tomatoes, she sits there and being picky if there's like tomato skins left in there from the crushed tomatoes. I don't get it. Because the tomato sauce itself is not a problem. Ketchup is not a problem. And they taste like tomatoes too. Okay, they're sweeter. They're like sugar and ketchup and whatnot. I just. Oh, you don't like popcorns? Because it's from corn or. Is it some texture thing with that? Is they have a totally different texture. I have issues with popcorn, like the skins from the kernels getting stuck in my teeth. That's something I don't like. But going to the movies, you have to have popcorns. That's just like a given. You can't see a movie in a movie theater without popcorns. And then you sit there and you're annoyed about the fact that there's popcorn kernel skin pieces in your teeth. Well, I think that's very different. Um, Here we basically only have salt on our popcorns. You can find like popcorn seasoning in the American aisle at a grocery store. So that's like the special aisle with everything that's like extra high price because they're imported. But we don't have popcorn seasoning here. We have microwave popcorn with butter flavor or regular salt, or like only salt. But that's the two things we have, and that's definitely not a lot of butter. It's just like slightly buttery flavor. But yeah, we have an American aisle at the grocery store. And then we have like the international aisle. And in the international aisle, we also have like Thai and Asian foods, um, a lot of weird vegetables from like pickled vegetables from I don't even know where. I think a lot of the pickled stuff is common in some parts of Africa, around, I don't know if it's like the, what is it? The it's got to be the west part of Asia, like close to, well, a little bit above Africa, I think. We have the Arab speaking countries. I think they have a lot of pickled vegetables. The Asian, like Chinese, Korean type, it feels like they do more fermenting than just pickling. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but walking through these like international aisles, there's just jars and jars of different types of pickled things that I've never seen in my life before, or at least not tried. I've seen them probably every time I walk past them in the store, but like I have never seen them grow in the field or anything because they don't grow here. Wrong climate. I've been debating with myself if I should try and grow some stuff this summer, but I'm never good at growing stuff because they usually don't get as much water as they want because I forget that I have to water your stuff, my plants and whatnot. I don't have a lot of plants in my house, but I do have a garden, and most of it is flowers. Yeah, not really my thing. I had a summer where I was doing tomatoes and chilies, different kinds of chilies. I tried to get some bell peppers, but they just didn't want to grow. And I had zucchinis and like the Halloween style type of pumpkin, just the big orange pumpkins to carve. So, not something I would really use to eat. You can probably eat them too, but I only grew them for the purpose of being Halloween decorations. Because Halloween is a really big thing in this house because of my oldest. That's like his favorite type of time of year is Halloween and Christmas. He wish he could have Halloween all year round. Literally, he has pumpkins, skeletons, and all sort of things just all year round in his room. And we have the Halloween. It's I think almost like the Christmas tree like balls, the plastic Christmas ornament balls, but in black, orange, and some other, like, is it silver maybe? But I have a wreath with those plastic balls in Halloween colors hanging um, above my front door, but on the inside. So it's in my hallway. We have that wreath all year round, and when it's time for Halloween, I just get it down and hang it on the door on the outside. So that's always around. And I really think it's fun to do like the whole spooky theme things. It's fun to trick or treat. It isn't really like it hasn't been a big thing here since it isn't a tradition from here from the beginning, but it's growing. Every year it feels like more and more people here are celebrating and they're doing it like bigger and bigger celebrations every year. But like when I was a kid, people barely knew what Halloween was here. And there's still people every year that's being like, "What day is Halloween?" And it's like, "Oh, it's this day." I don't remember on the top of my head because yeah, I don't know on the top of my head exactly what day it is. But it's like, is it? It feels like it's on a weekday most of the time, or it's moving, right? It's not a set day. Is it a set day? I don't even remember. Okay, sorry. But I know people are being like, "Well, we were thinking about like doing it the other day or the day after or whatnot because that works better for us." It's like, yeah, but no one's going to be out that day because it's the day. You don't do it another day. Halloween is Halloween. Am I right? That's just. We do similar things during Easter. We basically dress up as little witches and paint little happy Easter cards, or the kids, I should say, and go knocking on the neighbor's door and give them a little card and say Happy Easter, and they usually get a little treat back for it. So it's basically like Halloween, but everyone's dressed as a witch. And there's usually like someone that has a little broom or a cauldron or a little kitty cat somehow, extra. For some reason, I don't know why, but apparently it's very traditional for the witches during Easter to have freckles, yes, and rosy cheeks. So that's something. I don't know if that's information you knew, that witches have freckles and rosy cheeks, and usually a little scarf on their heads to keep the hair in place while out flying the broom. Yeah, that's how they dress up here. Usually skirts with an apron as well. And guess what? Boys has the same dress code. Skirt and apron and freckles. So it's a very there's no warlocks, there's only witches. I've seen a couple of Easter bunnies jumping around as well. That's also something that's more more of a new part of that tradition, I guess, that you can also dress up as the Easter Bunny. But definitely not what it used to, like, yeah, you would never see an Easter Bunny jumping around when I was a kid. That's totally new. But it's also easier to make all these fun costumes now. Or easier and easier. They're just easy, like more available, more affordable. I'm guessing they're made in China. So very, very cheap. Did you finish that spider washcloth yet? You said you were doing the edge on that. Yeah, Halloween is. Do you think flying brooms as a witch for like Easter, is that more of a like Eastery thing? Or does it have a different meaning after like all the Harry Potter movies flying around on broomsticks? I don't know. It feels like apparently like after Harry Potter, it's more of a cool thing to fly a broomstick. Before it was like, nah, geeky witches flying to do their wicked stuff. And now it's like cool. Oh, I see. So there's another thing with that. Had no clue. Here we always say that um, the witches are flying to a place called Blåkulla um, during Easter. I don't know what that tradition's like the full story, what it entails, but that's just the Blue Hills, Blåkulla. Yeah, flying to the Blue Hills. Is that also a drug reference that I don't know about? I don't know if it's just a place here or if it's actually something else, but that one's old. Like that one goes back to I don't even know how far back, but like way before I was born. So I don't know where it comes from. I've been so into like I'm always at this time of year, there's a lot of focus in my house at least around Melodifestivalen, which is a Swedish song contest, and also Eurovision Song Contest. But Eurovision Song Contest is held in a couple of months, and Melodifestivalen is basically the Swedish um, qualifying whatever, like whoever wins Melodifestivalen is going to be represented Sweden in Eurovision Song Contest. But there's so many other countries that has their like different competitions and decides who's going to be representing their country. And I've been obsessing about Norway's entry this year. Like, I don't know how many times I've watched the Norwegian winner. And also, there's so many reaction videos on YouTube now people reacting to like all of these entries from different countries that has released their songs so far, but like reacting to the Norwegian song, it's so much fun to see people reacting to it because it's not what anyone really would expect from Norway. And apparently, the song itself is on Spotify's global viral list. I don't know if it's still there today, but apparently it was number one on Spotify's global viral list. That says something about a song. But I'm just like, yeah, I thought Sweden would have a chance this year to win Eurovision because we're not done yet. We're halfway through. We've had 2 out of 4 qualifying rounds, and then there's a semifinal, and then there's the final. But I thought that in the first of the qualifying rounds that our winner song is there because it's just awesome. So I'm hoping that that's the song we're gonna send to Eurovision. But hearing Norway, I was like, yeah, we might not have a chance anyway. So yay, Norway. Oh, and if you want a real shocker, you go look for Eurovision Song Contest 2023 Croatia. Croatia's entry this year is apparently a political statement. I don't really get it because I don't understand the language, but the whole performance on stage, the costumes, because yes, it's costumes. I couldn't tell if it was a joke at first, but it is a political statement, and it's, against Russia and what they're doing right now to Ukraine. So that's that. But the song is terrible, and the singer is not a good vocalist. So I was like, is this like, because there's always some entries that is just not the best. There's a thing like, tell me you don't want to win Eurovision, because if you win, then you'd have to host next year's Eurovision, and that's a pricey thing with the whole like arena, stage, TV, like the whole production. It's a big, costly production. So there's like, tell me you don't want to win Eurovision without telling me you don't want to win Eurovision, and then you send something that's totally just the worst thing ever, and you will make sure that you don't win. That's the type of thing that Croatia sent because it's just awful. And I do understand that with political statements, because that happens in Eurovision, like every year, someone's doing something political. You will get some votes for that, but I'm dreading that that one's even gonna go from the qualifying rounds through to the final because I don't want to see it more than I have to. That's just, ugh, terrible. But I do recommend it if you want to have a good laugh for a few minutes. All the songs in Eurovision is supposed to be 3 minutes or less, so it's not the worst thing, the worst 3 minutes of your life, or maybe it is. I don't know, but I definitely recommend Norway for now. And I think when I looked, it was only like 15 out of 40 plus countries that has um, decided or revealed their entries for Eurovision. So there's plenty more songs to come, but I think that Norway has so good of a song. Like, I can't tell it enough. It's very much like superwoman, female empowerment. The song is called Queen of Kings. Yes. And breaking free, and it's just, and it's got a nice, you can dance to it. It's just, it's it's got everything. Viking vibes. And for those that likes costumes that shows a lot of leg, they have something to look at. It was overall great. Which makes me sad because Sweden has a very potentially great song as well. I haven't heard all the songs yet because it's secret until the day of the performances. So I know what artists, but I have no idea what the songs are going to be like. The last, I think it's 14 more songs to listen to in the qualifying rounds. Yeah, 7 in each. It's two. Yeah, so that's 14 more songs to listen to. Oh, are you looking at it? Yeah, Queen of Kings. A lot of leg. Yeah. That's the only way you like legs? No, I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole tonight. Nope. We're staying out of the gutter. Hopefully. Ah, yeah. Stuff happens when I sit awake crocheting in the middle of the night. You never know. I'm so loving how the transitions from the colors are so it's they're so smooth. It's hard to tell. Like you can see where the color changes, but it's so nice. I'm definitely looking forward to using the next cake and see the transitions here with the reds. There's actually a joke in Swedish and it doesn't work as good in English with a legless frog. Because there's a word in Swedish that is hopplös, which is how do I translate this in the best way to get the joke to come across as good as possible? It's like hopeless, but not in the sense of just hopeless. It has a double meaning because hope is also jump. So it's basically jumpless. So a legless frog is hopeless, but he can't jump. So it's it's a fun joke in Swedish, but it doesn't translate very well. And it's sad that some jokes just don't translate well. You probably have some jokes that doesn't translate well as well, but it's those easy jokes with words that has double meanings. It's like No pun intended, but pun intended, kind of. It can be really fun. I've had a couple of times where I've like, no pun intended, but it's like an accidental one, so I didn't even think about it. And it was like, it just turned into something very hilarious. I've actually had that happen that I didn't even realize that I did one of the really funny ones. And someone was like, yeah, you must have, like, that was an intended one. It's like, I don't even understand the joke myself, but you're laughing, so apparently it was a good one. I'm definitely not planning to sit up very late today. I have a fairly early meeting in the morning, and I've been here for an hour, so I got on here at midnight or past midnight. Yeah, it's 1:30 in the morning. Yay! I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do a little quick stream here. But yeah, time flies when you're having fun, and this company is great, so time really flies. And I'm really happy to see more and more people popping in here, even though you might be too shy to say anything. But I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Maybe I can bring a smile to your face, or maybe you just enjoy the crocheting part. Time flies like a witch with a broom. Yeah. Time really does fly. I am still hoping to be able to sit down and just have some fun here on Saturday night. Well, maybe not night for you, but about the same time as today ish. But it depends on how tired I am since we're gonna have a birthday party for the little one. So I might be too tired. But I'm still gonna keep my fingers crossed that I'm not gonna be too tired. And another color change. Yay! But at least I gave up on the whole idea of baking and all of that myself. I've bought most of the stuff. Too much of a hassle to try and find time to bake when I have appointments and whatnot. Like I've had at least one thing every day, and most of the days I've had more than one thing to do, appointments and meetings, and ugh. And then I need time to crochet because otherwise I'll go insane. And yeah, as I said, I spent over an hour today chopping onions. But then again, I don't have to chop onions for a couple of weeks since I did all of that today. So that's nice. Yeah, now you can really see the difference in colors, especially when I do like that. No, onions aren't mean. Onions are yummy for my tummy. Of course, they made me cry a little bit. So in that sense, they might be a little bit mean, but hey, I was on stabbing them. They were just, self-defense. They're claiming self-defense as I was stabbing them to pieces. So who was the mean one? I'm almost done with the yellows on this one. I think next color change will be the last. Well, it will not have any any yellow left. It was a case of kill it till it dies with all the onions. And I still have some, probably 6 onions left. But they're red ones. And I don't want to mix them up. And they didn't look too bad yet, so I couldn't be bothered with them today because I had a meeting. So I was like, no, I don't have time to do them before the meeting. Then afterwards, I was like, no, I'm not going back to the onions. Yeah, I don't know how to kill it till it dies. That's just a saying I've heard, and it sounds so funny. I don't know where it came from, but it pops up now and then in my household, only because it sounds so funny. Or it could be also like if I find a spider indoors that I don't want to have indoors, that I might have someone to evict it or kill it till it dies, because I don't want them in my house. Kill it with fire, yeah. That's also useful. But the first thing that pops up in my head is a flamethrower. And if you're using a flamethrower on a spider, you're gonna have a lot of other things caught on fire as well, like curtains, and sounds like that's gonna be more dangerous than anything else. That's how you get rid of a house. Yeah, I'm not the greatest with fire either. Did I tell you that I had to jump out of my car that caught on fire as I was driving to work? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't say I want to burn my house down rather to live with a spider. No, I don't want to play with fire. I don't use candles or anything really these days. I'm too cautious, oversensitive and whatnot to, like, the smell of candle that's being blown out triggers me. The smell of matchsticks being lit up triggers me. Any type of smoke really triggers me. Exhaust fumes can trigger me if it's from like old cars that has, well, less, I don't know, like really old cars, vintage cars, they usually have a different type of smell, but their exhaust fumes are not as cleaned as the cars are nowadays. So that triggers me. Sometimes I have the wind in the direction of my house, and there's houses a bit away that has fireplaces and chimneys and whatnot. And during the winter, they use their fireplaces and they heat up their houses. And when the wind blows my way, I go all crazy about like what is the smell coming from? Is it like the neighbor trying to like burn down the house, or is it just like someone heating their house? So I am on high alert every time something smells burnt. And that is very annoying since it's on a daily basis for different types of reasons. But yeah, everyone deals with trauma in different ways, and fire is my nemesis. I have such a hard time going over to people. Not everyone, but some people that I occasionally visit. When they have a lot of people coming over, they like to use scented candles in their bathrooms so that everyone can do whatever they need to without feeling, you know, extra sensitive or whatnot to whatever smells they might leave behind, sort of. So those scented candles are being like not watched in the bathrooms. Oh my god, it's so terrible. I can't stand it. Every time I see one of those candles, I have to go blow it out because who knows what's gonna happen. Leaving a candle in a door, like in a room with the door closed, it's oh, scares me to death. I don't understand why people would even think of that. Like I do appreciate the thought of like not wanting to leave you know smells behind in a bathroom, but there's other ways to deal with that, like scented sprays and whatnot, not just scented candles burning for hours unattended. I have some electric candles because I wanted to have a little bit of a cozy vibe going, and candles does have a cozy vibe. I'm not gonna deny that, but I just don't want fire. Not around me, not around my kids. No. And that we have some really crazy sayings here. I'm gonna try and see if I can like the best way to translate it. um I don't think it's an easy way to say, or like there's no sugarcoating it, but it's burned kids smells bad. Kind of a saying here. I don't know where it came from or why you would say that, but I think that burned anything smells bad, not just specifically kids. Burned kids smells bad. Yeah, burned kids smells bad. I guess that's like a way of saying like kids don't get too close to something that might burn you, like the stove or the oven or candles or anything really. But it might be a bit um I don't know, too much. Silent Hill. It doesn't ring a bell for me. Is that a movie? Oh, yeah. That type of movie is probably not a movie I would enjoy too much. I have a hard time with things where kids get harmed since I got kids myself. Before that, I wasn't as disturbed by it, but after having kids, I, I don't know. I have a harder time dealing with things that doesn't necessarily harm kids, but like just kids crying or kids in fairly dangerous situations, I guess. Just bothers me a lot. And Sean Bean's usually good in anything he sets his foot in. There's some actors that just whatever they touch turns into really awesome things. He's mean. You're talking about a lot of mean stuff today. You're accusing onions of being mean, and then I'm mean, and then you love him being mean, but you didn't sound too happy about either, like, the onions or me being mean to the onions. Make up your mind. So am I. I only had to kill it till it died. What did the onions ever do to you? Oh, they made you cry. That's it, right? I bet they made you cry. I can live with that. I was kind of a little bit on the not sure side about what I was talking to you earlier. Um, I was like, could I put this on YouTube? I can put it on YouTube, but there might be people that know who I'm talking about. So I was like, how do I say as little as possible, but still get the as much info as necessary out, you know? But I think it's important to talk about like issues like how people treat people in general, no matter what the issue is. If it's transgender or homophobic or whatever, like you can't break it unless you put it to the surface and shine a light at it. And it's like, nope, this is not okay. How people are behaving towards other people. We are all human beings, right? But I've come to realize that none of my family members watch my YouTube channel, so I highly doubt that anyone would recognize themselves. Another saying, to kill with kindness. Why am I in the rabbit hole of weird sayings, and why are you saying stuff to trigger me to find them out? Yeah, I don't know. Kill it with kindness. Yeah, I think that there's so many people out there with so many different, I wouldn't say variations, but like shades of things. There's so many sexualities nowadays that I don't even know half of them. There's people that is having sexual relationships with objects like trees and bridges, and there's people that is not seeing genders. They're only seeing the human being, and that's what there's just so many categories that people want to put themselves in. I don't know why that is. Like, the feeling of having to put a label on themselves is weird to me. Like, does it need to have a name or a label if you like to have intimacy with a tree? I don't understand why that has to be a thing. Or if you want to do, like, as long as you're not harming anyone else or yourself, then whatever. But do you have to put a label on it? I don't see why. It's just I also don't understand why people have to, like, oh, I want to show it off in public what I like to do in my bedroom. It's stupid. But I also feel like the discussion has turned into like it blends very much, so it's hard to know what is what sometimes. Some people are like focusing very much on the not on gender itself, but it's like doesn't matter what gender you have or what, but like what do you classify yourself as if you switch gender, but you still like if you used to be a boy and then you switch to a girl, but you still like girls, are you also at the same time going gay just because you switched gender? Like, do you know that type of, why do we have to even like try to relabel something that we labeled it first and then we have to relabel it because it's ugh. Okay, I like to be organized and I like to sort things into boxes and I like to, but I don't have to put labels on people in that sense. If you feel like you are an Apache helicopter, then fine, be that, you know? Or if you see yourself as non-gender something, I don't even know half of the categories that is available these days because there's so many, then so be it. Just be you. That's my stand on it. And I know these types of topics are hard to talk about for some people. Sometimes some of these labels just makes me feel like it's not their sexuality that they're labeling, it's more like a niche or a fetish or something. It's yeah, it's just making it more detailed instead of saying, "Hey, I'm gay, but I prefer brunettes." then you have to make sure that there's a name for being into brunettes and put that type of label. It's not just like make it easy. No, no, no. Pick it into pieces and make up another name. Well, I do understand the whole like relating to, but at the same time, some of the things can be kept in the bedroom. It doesn't have to be spread like wide in public. And I'm not saying that it's only like the new things. It's a lot of old stuff as well. You don't have to show everything in public. The newer labels just feels like I have a hard time keeping track on whatever people are labeling themselves as. And also like okay, it's easier to relate if you know what it means, but if you doesn't like if you don't even know what they mean, then how can you relate? Like it can be labels that might fit me perfectly like a glove, but I'm just like I don't even know what they're all about. So it's just hard to keep a track on what is what. It's just like it's hard to keep track on all of these new diets and food preferences. Someone's vegan, someone's vegetarian, someone's pescatarian, someone's lacto ovo whatever. There's like I do understand that it's nice to know that there's other people like you, but to what extent? I have no problem with anyone kissing in public, no matter who they're kissing. So, but I do understand that there's people has problems with that. Me personally, no, not a problem. But yeah, I do know that it's hard for people to show who they really are in public in a lot of places because there's still old mindsets and all of that. I'm just feeling like some things doesn't necessarily have to leave the bedroom. And I'm not talking about kissing and holding hands. I'm talking about like when you're just going too deep into like some of these preferences and putting labels on it to show off, really. Yeah, that's it's just so stupid. There's so many people that just feels so entitled to stupid stuff. There are still people that has issues with like and it's crazy. To me it's just crazy that there's still people out there that is annoyed about black people being set free as slaves. Like, how many years ago was that? And why are you still living in whatever century that was? It's just, I'm not comparing apples to pears here. I'm just saying there's stupid, ignorant people out there that don't know better. then again, there's so many stupid people in other ways as well. Russia, for example. The whole thing with Ukraine, all the wars everywhere, and I don't even I don't even know where to start with some of that. Like, I love history and getting myself stuck in deep rabbit holes of old stuff. I have recently been on like some type of binge with history in like Pearl Harbor. I saw some documentary about that, like some deep dive. And like I know some of Pearl Harbor, but that's not something that's been a big part of our history lessons and stuff here because we, there's a lot of things happening and we only talk a little bit about like, the events, but not anything in depth, like what happened, who did what, why. So I usually go binge watching documentaries about certain themes. I had a period where I was like looking at what the Nazis did, and it's just very interesting to me. And I feel like I learn a lot from other people's stupidity. And it's very educational to look at all these old documentaries that is available. But there's still people to this day that think that some of the things that has been done in history was right. And I don't understand how that is possible, but stupidity is everywhere. Stupidity has no age, gender, size. It's just, it's there. And I don't know if it's just pure stupidity or if it's ignorance or whatever it is, but it's just as people come in various shapes, sizes, colors, whatever. There's so many variations of everything. And I'm definitely not saying that I know a lot or that whatever he or she did a long time ago was right or wrong or whatever. It's like I like to learn more to know what happened. It's interesting. And I've burned through all the fun Netflix series and other type of streaming services, whatever that was interesting to me. So when I was done with that, I had to find stuff elsewhere, and documentaries from a long time ago, or well, old school type of documentaries, are also very educational. You don't always have to watch fictional dramas and whatnot. They're very nice occasionally to just have listening as I crochet, but I need variation. Some of the dramas and such, it's just you don't really learn anything from it other than don't be stupid, because that's usually a lot of dramatic, over dramatic, very fictional stuff. That's just never gonna happen. But history is, I don't know, it's a lot more interesting to me. And there's so many things out there. Geography can also be very interesting. Something I have realized is that it's very different depending on where you're from, how much you learn in school. History, geography, religion, even. I love watching on YouTube people trying to guess where places are at. Um, just by looking at a map, like place, whatever, where's this or where's that. That can be very much fun. And it's always fun to see like Americans trying to find European countries or European people trying to find the American states. That's also something really fun. Because it's just like in America, it feels like a lot of people are learning a lot of American stuff, American history, American geography. They know all the states by heart, backwards and forwards, I think. At least that's what I've heard. Might be wrong there. That you learn to tell them in alphabetical order. And in Europe, we learn both, like what's going on in the world, and that includes America, but also like what happens in this end of the world. So it's easier for Europeans to find the states than for Americans to find other countries outside of the US. I I had something. I don't know where did I hear it. It made me laugh so hard. But it was someone that was like, "What do you mean Europe still has like history after like the European history like that it would end basically when we discovered America and the American history starts. At that point the rest of the world would stop. So what do you mean stuff happened over there? Like World War II, what was that all about? Like Hitler and all of that. Because of just, not learning in school that life didn't just stop for everyone else just because America was discovered. uh, that just, it felt so true for some reason that there's people that believe that everyone else just stopped whatever they were doing when the great America was discovered and the American history started. And I'm not saying that it might sound like evil or ignorant or something on my half here, but it's just you don't get taught in school all the stuff. There's so much things that could be taught in school, but you don't have the time to get everything into what you're supposed to be taught and what's important and whatnot. Like there's stuff that has to be cut out. So I do understand that there's not time for everything and not everything is important. Unless you want to become like a history teacher or something, then of course you will be digging more into history of other places than whatever your native country is. But it's still like we don't know a lot of the history of other continents in any deeper sense. We know like Pearl Harbor happened, but what happened, why it happened, that was something I just wanted to learn more for myself, or other things that has happened in history. I had a period where I was like, I wanted to know more about what happened in Chernobyl. That was in Europe, the nuclear disaster. And as I was digging down that rabbit hole, I realized that there's other places that has had close to nuclear disaster. I don't remember the name of it, but there is a power plant, or maybe it doesn't exist anymore, um, in the US that almost had a meltdown. Fukushima in Japan, there was the meltdown after the tsunami and earthquakes and whatnot. So that happened, and they have an exclusion zone and all of that now. But there's other places around the globe that almost had a nuclear disaster, and I had no clue. Like, of course, there's nuclear power plants all over the globe, but I had no idea that there was close to one in the US in, I don't know, what was it, like 50s or 60s, or like it was time, like quite some time ago. So it's definitely not something that's worth mentioning nowadays. Yeah, there's always the talk about like nuclear power and if it's good or bad, and there's countries that shuts down their nuclear power plants because it's just not good, and then there's countries that wants to build more because it's fairly clean energy. It's just hard to deal with the waste. And also, like, there's always the risk of an accident happening, and what would that look like, and what the risks, and all of it. Like the discussion keeps going on and on and on. At the moment, it looks like Sweden will have more nuclear power in the future. But at the same time, we've been closing nuclear power plants for some time, but now we have the energy crisis, and now everyone's talking about that we need more energy. So apparently, nuclear is back on the table again. So I guess politicians can't make up their minds. Yeah, I'm really curious to like what is still left of the elephant's foot today and what's going on in there. They are saying that there's more radiation coming out from there as of recently. And also, I was scared shitless now with Russia going in and actually, shooting in the area. There was talk about big risks around the power plant. They were cutting power to it, which made it hard to keep it safe because it needs to be cooled down and whatnot. And also, there's another power plant in Ukraine, which is basically the largest in Europe. And I have no idea how to pronounce it because it's just the weirdest name I've ever seen. But I think most people just say Saporica or something. But there's been so many fights going around there. It's like, yep. It's just a matter of time before a stray bullet goes in the wrong place and then we have another disaster. And it's been so scary. Definitely been causing some headaches for me. Like, it's not like they were close, but I also know when Chernobyl happens, that was in 86. The first people realizing that something was going on was Swedish scientists at one of the nuclear facilities here that picked up the radiation on their measurement tools here because the wind was blowing in the direction of Sweden at that time. And also, it was raining here. So we have some fallout from Chernobyl landing in Sweden. There's a couple of lakes in a certain area there where, like, um, recommended to not eat the fish because the fish there is still not good because of the fallout, as well as um, like higher um, rates of like people getting cancer, even here. And it's a bit scary. Like both me and um, my hubby was born around that time. He was born just um, around that time. And my mom got pregnant with me just a little bit after, more or less. Hello, Anvita. Welcome. So it's like, did we get some type of, I wouldn't say exposure, but like, is there any risk of us developing cancer in a higher rate now because we were born just about that time, or like our mothers being pregnant with fallout? I don't know. It just feels like you never know. It's scary. But I guess I feel extra scared about it because of the fallout landing here in the areas where I'm from, or where I'm like where I live. But I think they're talking about the fishes in the lakes, that they're not good to eat only because of the water being like they're smaller lakes, and it's being very contained. It's not flowing out of the lake. The whatever radiation ended up there, it's trapped. But I have a habit of ending up in like rabbit holes on documentaries like that. Thank you. I am not the best at keeping my nails. My thumbnails are quite long now, but the other ones are quite short at the moment. They break, unfortunately. And I was better before at like painting my nails and taking care of them and kept them long. But when I really do my nails, I'm not using any like acrylic or anything like that. I'm only using nail polish. But I love to layer to keep my nails strong. So if I'd sit down and do my nails properly, like I normally, well, the way I used to do it, it would take anywhere from 3 to 6 hours because I want to make sure that the layers dry in between. And I don't have that much time to fix my nails because I want to crochet. So my nails are just not high priority. But my thumbnails are really hard, so um they don't break as easy. The other ones, well, they didn't really break. I got some little like notches or something, so I was going crazy because they kept snagging on the yarn. So when when uh, when my nails start to have issues with my yarn, that's where my nails just have to go. And I tried to file it down, but there's only like a certain point where you can't file it away. You just have to cut it off. So that's where I'm at right now. But I probably will take down my thumbnails as well soon and try to even all my nails out just so that they're the same length. Um, because that looks a little bit better. They're just, yeah, I haven't had time. Um, Now there's still a few that's a bit longer. And my thumbnails are to the length where my nails was. I think these two, I took them off, was it 2 days ago or something? They were about the same length as my thumbnail. But I had a very deep passion for fixing with my nails before. That's why I could spend hours fixing my nails with drying time, and but that's before I picked up the crochet hook. I should say it was before I got pregnant with my youngest, when I had a lot of time to deal with things, because you don't really have that much time when you have kids around. Not at least to just do straight up sit to like 4 hours fixing nails, drying them, not touching anything. Now you have to do laundry, clean toys. It's just not the best combination. But I've been thinking about maybe going to a salon to fix my nails, to spoil myself once in a while. I've been thinking about it. And then I think about buying new yarn and buying new yarn winds. So nails don't get the attention. That's just how it is. Another color change, and the yellow is disappearing. That's the last strand of the yellow. Yeah, it's the worst dilemma ever, right? I I have a couple of yarn hook cases, or places to put different um little knickknacks in it, like my uh, scissors, just extra stuff, and all of them has a nail file in it. It just has to be a nail file in any of my little baggies for, scissors, occasionally a measuring tape, some extra crochet hooks, and the nail file. I prefer nail files made out of glass. I don't know why, I just like them. That's my favorite. I have, in the one I have next to me, in my little hook case, I have a nail file here that is pink and yellow and white. So this is the type of files I like to use. They're easy to wash. The more like papery files, if they get wet, they get all like bad and soggy, but this is easy to just wash off the dust, and then you can use it again and again and again. I have managed to break one over the years, but it is glass, so they can break. But I think they're very durable, so that's something I always have with scissors and hairpins and whatnot, stitch markers, and a hobby candy. Yay! Important stuff, as well as needles to sew in my ends. But that's like my go-to kit, really. It's growing bigger and bigger. I wonder if I should start to think about how big this is going to be. Like if I just fold it, let's see here. This will be the size of the sleeve-ish, folded like this. So if I put my arm in here, there's definitely room in here. Is it enough though? I I definitely have room for like my upper arm and stuff as well, so it's not a problem. I'm always just a little bit worried that is my yarn gonna be enough for whatever it is I'm doing. And since, well, it's gonna be a cardigan, this is gonna be one side and that's gonna be the other side. But I don't know what color I want to join the pieces together with, or how I'm gonna plan doing that just yet. But I need to think about the length of the sleeves, and I need to think about how long I want it around my waist, or well, down over my waist. And I always worry that if I go too big somewhere, it's not going to be enough for another place. So I think that when I'm done this round, I will be measuring extra carefully to see if it's time to join on the shoulder and continue on the sleeve, because that's the way I do it. And I have figured out a way where I don't even have to cut my yarn to do all of that in an easy way, which I'm really happy about, because that means I don't have too many yarn ends to get rid of in the end. I will have to cut as like when I'm done with the sleeve, so that I can continue on the rest of the body, but I won't have to cut until the end of the sleeve at least, so that's good. I'm only thinking that maybe it's enough now. I'm gonna just check to see here. I'm sorry if you can't see anything for a few seconds, but I'm just gonna try and measure here. No, a little bit longer. Where am I at? There we go. It felt a little bit tight in my armpit still, so want to avoid that. Don't want to have it tight in places like that, because then I won't wear it because it's uncomfortable, which is sad because I'm spending a lot of time on this, and I'm really hoping it will turn into some really pretty wearable, very usable wearables. So but yeah, I always worry about like how far am I gonna be able to do stuff with whatever amount of yarn I have, so it's always an issue. Yarn chicken. Yeah, I can be the chicken, because I can sit there and be like, no, I'm gonna run out of yarn, and then I didn't. Then I had half a cake left because I thought it wasn't going to be enough. Yep, that's me. Well, you go to sleep, so should I. It's 2:30. Who could have guessed that I would be here until 2:30? That's how it's been. I get stuck here because I'm having too much of a good time crocheting in great company. I really enjoy it, even though I end up talking about some weird stuff most of the time. But yeah, I am a bit of a night owl, but I have to be up at, well, I don't have to get up at 7 to get the kids ready today. I have to get the oldest one to a meeting at 10. So we have to get up and eat breakfast and whatnot and get there in time for the meeting. But yeah, I'm guessing I can sleep till 8. The question is, am I going to be able to fall asleep? Because that's been an issue as well. When I've been here enjoying my time, I've been not very tired when I get to bed. Nope, not at all. Not even a little bit. So, yeah, I'm probably not gonna fall asleep until 4. And then I have to get up 4 hours later. Yes. Fun times. But I usually have, like, even though I never do it really, I can sleep during the day if I need to. It just never really happens because I just have a hard time falling asleep. Good night, you. Hopefully, I will see you soon. Yes. Yeah, I should probably not stay up for too much longer. But I'm having too much fun. Seeing these color changes come in. So tell me, everyone who's lurking in my chat, what are you doing right now? Are you crocheting? Are you doing something totally different? I hope you're having fun at least. That there's some fun to be had here, even though you're quiet. Don't worry, I don't bite, so if you don't feel like talking, then don't. It's optional. Even though you might occasionally hear my stomach growl, it does that. It's just a part of it. I'm not hungry and I'm not gonna bite. That's not what it's saying. It shouldn't be hungry. I had plenty of pancakes for dinner today. Kids' request, so kinda maybe ate a little bit more than I needed or should have because it was yummy. I was thinking I'd go all the way around here and then I would go to bed. But I am feeling that it's probably going to take a little while before I'm at the next corner again, because I think I was just at the corner. So I think I will just have to say goodnight now. But yeah, I really appreciate each and every one of you to stop by here and keep me company. I love to see the thumbs up, and it really makes me smile when I get out of here or after my live streams to see that I usually get a new subscriber or two, which makes me really happy because it's always fun to find new people to chat with and to come hang out and talk crochet, yarn, and all the other fun stuff that is related to, well, mostly yarn. I don't do any knitting, but that's because I am not the biggest fan of losing stitches, which is easier to do when you're knitting rather than crocheting. So I just feel like crocheting is more my thing. Even though I know how to knit, it's just not as enjoyable. And I don't know that much. I know the basics. But I do have a lot of fun yarn hauls, and that's one of the things I've done a lot of lately because I just love yarn. But also I've spent so much time crocheting and not so much time making videos. I have realized that I enjoy these lives more than making regular videos. So this is the most fun because I can interact with you guys at the same time. You can talk to me and I can answer questions and, you know, do things more hands-on, basically. So I really do appreciate and like this type of thing a lot. Yeah. Thank you very, very much yet again, and I hope to see you back again here next time. For now, have a great rest of your day. Sweet dreams. Thank you, and bye bye.